Yeah, that's Ethiopia. Jewish Ethiopia. But there's a really good reason for that, and we're going to go over that. Don't worry. But what's good, team? Today we're going to be doing an Ethiopia run and guide. The purpose of this guide is to set you up on an Ethiopia run where you will be able to crush the Ottomans when the time comes and get you 3 achievements. A Prester John, Blessed Nation, and Shemot me not. Ethiopia has got huge amounts of flavor, and they have formable. It's okay, but I like it. To get yourself in the mood for an Ethiopia run, go out to your local Ethiopian restaurant and feast out on some tibs. They're going to be great. I also highly recommend that you check out the channel Extra Credits. They have a great Ethiopia series that has really put me in the mood to get this playthrough going. I'll have that video linked in the description. This guide is broken into 8 different parts, so you can jump around if you need to. Please like and subscribe if you found the guide useful. Leave a comment if you need help along the way. The 8 parts of the guide are: 1, before we unpause, the first 15 years, 3, what you're doing after that, 4, the Mamlukan War, 5, the Ottoman Wars, which are going to get us our achievements, the first of which is probably going to be a Blessed Nation, the second of which is going to be a Prester John, and the 8th part, last but not least, Shemot me not. Okay, so what does Ethiopia look like in-game? We start the game as an empire. I believe there's only 4 empires at the game start. You'll notice this isn't the only small group that you're going to be a part of in 1444. Speaking of an empire and our government, we are a monarchy, and we receive the Tier 1 Negusa Nagast reform. This gives us -1 unrest, -10% stability cost modifier, and -75% move capital cost modifier, and special government mechanics. We'll talk about those mechanics when we get to them. Let's go ahead and rival Adal and Ajuaran as our first moves. Our economy is not very imperial, and we cannot afford an advisor right now. We will fix that in about 15 years, and we'll be able to hire all the advisors. We are one of the few Coptic nations in the world. Copts are a part of the Christian faith group. The Coptic mechanic revolves around reconquering historical holy sites and converting them. For each province that is Coptic and controlled by a Copt, you unlock 1 blessing. We can get yearly legitimacy plus 0.5. We can get manpower recovery speed plus 10%. Missionary strength 1.5%. Core creation cost minus 10%. Or discipline 2.5%. I would say start with discipline or manpower recovery speed for your early wars, but core creation cost saves lots of admin. I would say you can skip on the missionary strength for now, as you'll collect plenty of that throughout the game, and your legitimacy is fine. Take that last. I personally like Will of the Martyrs. We are insulated from friendly Christians in Europe by the slave sultans in Egypt. The Ethiopian mission tree is not the biggest, but it does give you some good bonuses, and it's quite fun. We have 8 missions unlocked from the get-go. We want to get a coast, which will reward us with a bunch of sailors. Presumably we'll steal a bunch of people from our little Tana lake and throw them into the Red Sea. Good luck, boys. We need to get our force limit to max and hire a general, which will give us claims in the south. Gideon's Revolt is this ragtag group of Jewish separatists. When we crush them, we will get an event allowing us to decide their fate. For this mission, raise your opinion with both of your vassals to 150. This gets you some temporary annexation reduction and a lot of claim. The Ancestors' Capital asks us to improve Aksum, and it gives us core in Medribari. The last one we can unlock anytime soon is going to be take over Kasr Ibram, which just wants us to conquer Kasr Ibram, and it fills our troops with Coptic zealotry in the form of 10% morale of armies. Last but not least, it gives us a claim on the entire Egypt region. These last 2 are going to take a little bit longer to get there, and we'll touch on them after opening the game. Let's talk about estates next. Feel free to do what you would like to do, but you have 30% crown lands to play with at the start. I'd say let's give the privilege that provides +1 power to each of the estates. We'll definitely want to give supremacy of the crown to the nobility, as well as strong duchies. Save your last slot here for the nobility integration policy when you go to annex your vassals. For the clergy, give them the oversight by the clergy and the enforced unity of faith. Finally, for the burghers, you can take free enterprise. Your starting ruler, Zara Yacob, is amazing, but your heir, not so much. I want to get rid of him soon before he leads Ethiopia to ruin. Let's get rid of our fort in Shewa. We'll hire the Free Company and the 2 Kawa infantry. Assign a general to your Kawa and allow attach. Kawa is one of our special government mechanics. Kawas cost no money to hire, but they do cost 5 military power. They receive -25% land attrition and -15% shock damage received, while costing 25% more to reinforce and having a 25% slower reinforce time. You can also start converting one of your provinces. Don't forget to use the Enforced Religious Unity Edict, and then don't forget to remove it. That's the hardest part of the game. We are almost ready to unpause. Start building a spy network in Beha. Improve relations with War Sangali and ally Ogaden. This last spy you'll be needing to declare wars and make peace, so have him ready for December 11th. We will set our vassal focus to siege. We're going to attach our heir here to the main army and send him to Dembia, cross off the rebels. We will send one unit to Semien to liberate it faster. Finally, we can unpause. I'm removing him from being in charge here just to prove a point, but you should use him for sure. It's going to make your battles easier, and hopefully he'll die. Your second special government mechanic is the itinerant capital. Historically speaking, the Ethiopian monarchs will move their capital to where they were needed to flex their strength. This had its ups and downs. In the game, this translates to the bonuses, including the minus 75% move capital cost modifier, and it punishes you with a monthly plus 20 autonomy change. We'll get out of this much later when we get our special government reform that replaces Negusa Nagast. When your mercenaries spawn, move the general over to them and allow attach. You will also be finishing the mission Ethiopia's Army, which gives you claims on the south. Let's repause on December 11th. It'll usually take your heir a bit longer to defeat Gideon, but when that's taken care of, I like to disinherit my heir. If you've got the cojones, feel free to keep them throughout the intro wars and disinherit later, but that's your gamble to make. Having Mariam rule can seriously derail your nation and run completely. Now, the reason you paused on December 11th. Our first priority is to use the claims we gained from Ethiopia's army and conquer the south. We'll do it in this order unless a nation has an ally. If they have an ally, we'll skip them for now. First on the plate is Janjiro. Second, Enerea. Third, Walaita. And fourth, Kaffa. Kaffa will hopefully convert Gamba by the time you conquer them. Gambella, sorry, not Gamba. In most of my tests, Janjiro doesn't ally anybody. They occasionally do ally Walaita. It can be a toss-up which of the Christians ally Alodia, but usually at least one of them will. Regardless, let's activate our Declare War on December 11th special secret ability. So again, I'm removing the leader just to prove a point. March towards Janjiro. You should be able to defeat them easily. You should be able to defeat everybody else easily as well. It'll just take a little bit longer as you march over there. When the Semien situation has been taken care of, you'll be able to take the mission Gideon's Revolt. Let's not create a bigger rift between our people and take the +1 stability. We're not going to be able to convert these provinces for a bit, but we will be able to convert them later, and it's fine. Plus, if you get rid of the Jews now, you're going to lose out on the ability to get a third secret achievement that I'll cover at the end. You'll want to start moving your actual army towards Shemot. When you defeat the enemy, you're going to disallow attach on the mercenaries and give chase. A lot of times they'll run to Fazguli. I'm guessing that's where they're going now. You'll leave your Kawa here, and hopefully with your vassals, you'll be able to siege the province. Oh, that was lucky. The natives just wiped out the Janjirans. That usually does not happen, but once your army wipes them out, allow attach on the mercs and march them back to Janjiro. You'll disallow attach on your Kawa and march them to your main. Move your main army down to Hadiya or Damat, depending on who you're invading next. Once your armies are in position, you're not going to wait till you're done sieging Janjiro or your first enemy. You're going to go ahead and move against your next enemy. We'll use our full force to attack them at Walaita. If you don't wipe them out, give chase. But once you do wipe them out, go ahead and send 1,000 soldiers to siege Sidamo and march your armies back to Janjiro. Your other vassals should siege down the enemy's capital. At this point, Kaffa has allied Medribari, which we will invade later. Since neither Enerea or Kaffa allied Alodia, we will want to start building a spy network on them. Declare war on your next enemy when your armies are ready, even if you're already embroiled in the other wars. Go ahead and march your full force over there, crush them. This time your vassals won't help since they're sieging down, but you should be able to defeat the enemy. Once again, if you don't wipe them down, give chase with your main army and lay siege with the mercenaries. Leave whatever troops you need to leave to help the mercenaries siege down, and make sure your troops aren't suffering attrition wherever they're sitting. Early on, you'll receive the event Centralization Reforms of Zera Yakab. You can either take 15 government reform progress, 0.02 monthly autonomy change, and +1 national unrest, or you can centralize later and take the stability. I like stacking stability early game as Ethiopia, so I will centralize later. Your soldiers should not be sieging anywhere. They should be resting in a province where they are not suffering attrition. Your mercenaries and vassals will take care to siege for you. Walaita has fallen. You'll want to grant Hadiya to Hadiya and Kaffa to Damat. Don't forget to give your vassals your claims that you have on these provinces so they have a bit easier time coring. Transfer control, take some gold, continue to siege the enemy and capture their provinces. Like I said, the Kaffa state will be granted to Damat. Once you're at war with just one enemy, go ahead and position your armies next to your last enemy in the south and get ready for that last war. It's okay if your vassal hasn't finished there, if most of your armies are in position. Majority of the time, the southern countries will ally Alodia. This time they didn't at all. They've allied Medjugorje, but that also provides a unique situation. If co-belligerizing the enemy doesn't call in the Mamluks or Adal, go ahead and do it. You should be fine fighting off other little countries here or the faraway countries. Will take a while to march here and then you'll be able to pick them off. So we'll go ahead and declare the war on Kaffa and call Medjugorje in as a co-belligerent. We want to try and rush down to Kaffa and hopefully wipe out their army here. There's Janjiro. We'll grant that to Damat. Our vassals are going to siege down here. And we'll start marching north. Fight your war and make sure the enemy does not unite. Use your mercenaries to siege provinces, hopefully saving you some manpower. First province is converted. I'm just reminding you all to destroy the edict because I always forget, so yeah. Continue converting though. It's always good to convert to Coptism. You have two options when it comes to Medjugorje. When you complete the Ancestors' Capital mission, you will get cores on their original 3 provinces. So you can go ahead and do that, take their provinces, and either vassalize whatever they have left or annex that as well if they have anything else, or you can just vassalize the whole thing. When you go to Diplo Annex and you have cores on something, you won't pay for those cores during the annexation, and having another Coptic vassal up here is going to help you convert some of these provinces or at least hold them for you a little bit while you deal with your own conversions. I'm going to vassalize them, take their gold and farm a little bit of prestige, and notice they're not very happy and the other vassals are starting to get uppity. Let's bring back our improved relations from our allies. Start improving relations with Hadia first. We're going to grant the rest of Kaffa to Damat. Suing for peace as usual, full annexation, take the money, and send the demand. 1447, we've consolidated the south, we've vassalized Medjugorje, and we have a claim here ready to go. Normally, I'll start hiking up, but it looks like Makuria is at war with the Mamluks due to their alliance. One of these guys, probably Aniza. Yeah, I think it needs. So I don't want them to fall to the Mamluks, so I'm going to actually try to march up there and declare war and capture those provinces before the Egyptians can take them from. You'll be able to take the Conquer the South mission, but I'm actually going to hold off. You're going to use that development cost to level your gold mines up and activate this mission, which will resolve your economic issues. This is the first second to breathe that you've gotten, so I would recommend summoning diet if you need, and if not, skipping the diet, but definitely seizing land. We're at the border with Makuria. Good thing our vassal has a claim on them. Let's go. We'll move our entire army. Damn it, the Mamluks are there. That could be bad news. Start improving relations with Medjugorje. You will also reach out to the Timurids. They've more than likely rivaled the Mamluks. Oh, the Mamluks didn't take it. We're good. They just want Aniza, so we'll be able to take Qasr Ibram for ourselves, which is very, very good. Let's move our army back to Gondar and see if we can heal a little bit. Take tech as you get it. You want all your vassals happy, but you don't care to finish this mission until 54. And I'll tell you why, because you can't annex until 54. We do want to go ahead and annex Makuria for ourselves. Even though our vassal has the claim here, it's in a separate state, and it has 2 Coptic provinces that are nice to have. If we go to sue for peace now, we won't be able to because we're waiting for Medjugorje to core Berber. While we wait for them to core that, let's go ahead and put our armies on the border to Alodia. These guys have no allies, so again, I'm going to take the free declaration of war. You want your full army there to fight the enemy, but you just want your mercenaries to siege to conserve. In this case, we can move our mercenaries to fight the enemy with our vassals before then sieging Soba, and we can actually send our vassals over there. Perfect. We're still working on Berber. You'll have rebellions starting to rise up in the south, so be ready to help your vassals defend that area as their armies are depleted from your wars. We are still waiting until we can fully annex Makuria and for Berber to be cored by the Medjugorjeans. These guys both have sad horses, so we're just chilling. Can't do nothing against those. This guy sucks, but I'm going to wait to disinherit him until my vassals are a little bit happier with him. Makuria is done. We're going to start getting called for peace soon, and yet just a little bit longer. Come on. Come on, Medjugorje. Come on. Yep, there's the call for peace. Probably from both of them, to be honest. Like I said, annex Makuria and core the provinces. With Alodia, I like to kind of split them up. I'll usually take these 2 southern provinces and the Christian provinces. We'll give Butana to Medjugorje, and then we'll take the gold. Someone here has usually allied somebody in Arabia. That's fine. Just declare your war and get ready to crush. These natives in Fazugli are doing some work. At this point, you can get rid of your mercenary company. If they still have a lot of manpower left, you can use them to get rid of your rebels and help quell that, conserving a bit of your manpower. We've fully conquered Angola, and now we just have to wait out Ikhilaf for 5 years until they surrender. Just chilling at this point. Continue improving relations with vassals, converting provinces wherever you may. Another possible ally that you might want to court is the Karakoyunlu, because they haven't been beaten down or anything like that. If they haven't been beaten down, you could court whoever has replaced them. In most cases it will be Ajam, but then Ajam might hate the Timurids, so you'll have to fish around for a little bit of an ally like Akakunyulu or Hisan Kaifa, which will just be a small replacement to Karakunyulu. We'll be making territories into states as soon as we can and finishing those scores so we can get full benefits from those provinces. At some point you'll unlock the ability to send your guy here, so just send him there whenever you do. Make sure you improve relations so that your vassals are going to be above 190 even when you're not at war. Whenever the enemy finally concedes, take their provinces. I gave these provinces to Medjugorje because again we'll get these for free when we annex them, and these provinces are Muslim. I can either convert them for them or at least let them rule over them for now. You can now take your Damat and Hadiyah. They shall become a part of our nation, gives us minus 25% diplomatic annexation cost for the next 30 years. Grant the nobility integration policy edict. This is going to give you another minus 5% diplomatic annexation cost and disable the diplomatic reputation penalty from annexing subject. That may have angered Medjugorje. If you have a truce with them, then it's fine. If not, you'll have to trade prestige for their happiness. If you need any extra prestige, remember you have the ability to use patronage of the arts if you didn't use it earlier. Another terrible error. You'll have lots of rebels to contend with over these years, so unless Adal is particularly weak, I do not recommend declaring war on them. Right now, they're not particularly weak, and they have 3 allies, so we'll leave them alone and tend to Ethiopia. At some point, you'll want to improve relations with Ogaden and carry favors with them as well. In Adal, you'll be fighting offensive wars, so I recommend taking the South African warriors for the offensive pips. Your next good possible ally is Warsangali. They will help you against Adal. Marahan is another good choice, but a lot of times I see them actually allying Adal. I'm going to take strengthening noble privileges. I really appreciate the manpower, especially down here when we're always at war. That's a lie, we've been in peace for a while, but whatever. I'm taking the national manpower. Oops. We could have taken Unify the Tribes a long time ago. 14 years since the beginning of the game, and I promised you guys that in 15 we'd take care of our economy. So let's do that now. We're going to take Conquer the South to get 5% development cost reduction at Kaffa. And don't forget your Encourage Development Edict, development to 6 in the production, and the Damat to 6. Once they're both at 6, you'll be able to use Riches of Kaffa. Let the month took over, and voila, the economy has been fixed. We do want to repay our loans, but let's get advisors first. Take +1 advisors. For military, try to get either morale or discipline. For diplomatic, try to get diplomatic reputation or spy network. And for administrative, you absolutely need a yearly inflation reduction. It is very important that we convert Qasr Ibrim as soon as possible. Whenever you have a free missionary and it's ready, go ahead and do it using Enforced Religious Unity. That will unlock our next blessing. Try to stack development cost as much as possible before deving up Aksum. You can even move your capital there. You just need 5 to get your cores, but go ahead and blast it and try to spawn Renaissance. Obviously, we didn't have enough points, and we're going to keep working to spawn Renaissance. But with that, we'll be able to take the Ancestors' capital mission, giving us cores on these 3 provinces. Now, the annexation of Medjugorje is much cheaper, as we do not have to pay for these 3 provinces. Finally, we got a not terrible heir. Yes. Depending on how well you balanced your state, by 1460, you could be out of your penalty. I've begun building a spy network in Adal, as that will be our next natural target. We've been currying favors with Warsangali and Ogaden for that very purpose. We finally converted Qasr Ibrim, giving us our next aspect of the faith. Port creation cost is really good here. Manpower recovery speed is also very good here. I'm going to go with manpower recovery speed so we can stay topped off as we continue our wars to raise the Coptic cross in Egypt and Africa. You will have a bit of a conversion bonus in Hadiyah, so try to rush that once you have Qasr Ibrim. Do not take the Qasr Ibrim mission until you're ready to declare war on the Mamluks. That plus 10% morale is going to help you smash those boys. Another annexation, and when you're out of vassals, you lose your 2 vassal privileges here. Your nobility estate may be under now. You can use right of council to bring the nobility loyalty equilibrium up, but it's also going to bring their influence up. I recommend either granting monopoly on gemstones or monopoly on mining and smelting. You will not be gaining any more gemstones for quite some time, and same can be said for copper. You don't have any iron, but you won't be getting any more copper anytime soon. Your army should be big enough for either Karakoyunlu or the Timurids to ally you now. Go ahead and offer the alliance to Karakoyunlu, and you're going to want to work your way up to the Timurids as well. We have access to the Red Sea, but I'm going to hold off until we have a bit of a bigger sailor cap. Because right now it's just 300, and I think if we take it, it's just going to go down because it can't build up at all. So don't take it yet. You definitely want to make allies of the Timurids as well, and you want to do this before you declare war on Adel to protect your north and flanked from the Mamluks. They should not want to declare war on you as long as you're allied with both of those guys. There are a couple ways to raise this up. We're going to go ahead and rival the Mamluks before they've even rivaled us. That's right, we're being proactive. Now look how much higher that is. You'll get this event against the Mamluks eventually. Send a strongly worded letter to the Sultan for the additional prestige. This is the usual Mamlukan response. You can do this as cause for war to get 10 prestige. Perfect. That insult let us ally the Timurids, and we can now prepare for war against Adal. As we prepare for our little southern crusade here, we want to make sure that both of our allies, Warsangali and Ogaden, will join our war against Adal. Sometimes they will have good attitudes towards your enemies. That's why you've been currying favors. You can use that to reduce their opinion. Another item you'll have to take care of as you prepare for your invasion is completing the mission Restore Adulis, which wants you to improve Masawa 5 times, and it grants you claims on most of Adal. When you're ready to take your mission and get your claims, make sure your armies are on the border. You'll want one stack next to the Waro so you can take it and make sure Ogaden doesn't try to steal it from you. I also get 8 development points from this, so that's really nice. Ogaden will take a bit of convincing. So once you have them where you want them, get ready for your war and cross the borders. This is more than likely what your war against Adal will look like. Try to focus on sieging down their allies in Africa first. Use your army that's not sieging to pick apart their smaller stacks before engaging their bigger armies. Their bigger armies will retreat across Arabia, at which point you'll want to position your army to defend your siegers. Go ahead and peace out with Adal's allies as you're able to and get them out of the war so you can just single out Adal. Don't leave your provinces occupied for too long, but as you can see, the Ethiopian economy is really driven from the southern mines here. When you've thoroughly smacked Adal down, this is the peace deal you want to take. You're going to leave them with Degehabur so you don't have to invade Arabia, and you'll give Degehabur to Ogaden in your next war, when Ogaden is your vassal. With that peace deal, you should be able to complete your Conquer Adal mission and receive claims on the rest of the Horn. When you have a sizable maximum sailor cap, go ahead and take access to the Red Sea, but first make sure you build some boats. This way you can make the most out of the mission and get your 1,000 sailors, not have them deplete, but continue to build up. When you're ready to declare your war, make sure that Karakuyunlu and the Timurids will both join your war. Take Kasser Ibram mission and declare your war on the Mamluks. You can claim Iskandiria since that's thematic, and you should be able to wipe the floor with the Mamluks with all of your allies. Throughout the war, make sure you try to improve relations with other Arabian nations, as they will be really mad once you conquer what you're going to conquer at the end of the Mamlukan War. This is going to help you avoid a coalition. In your war with the Mamluks, make sure you try to beat out their allies and push them out of the war. Your tactic for the war is going to be to wait until you see Mamlukan armies near Karakunyulu, and then you're going to try to march your armies quickly north and siege Cairo, and then Alexandria. Take care that your armies aren't left out, as the Mamluks will crush them unless you have the help of your allies. So don't be scared to retreat back into Ethiopia, as any Arabian allies will probably try to flood in through here anyway, so you'll have to push them back. Whenever you start feeling comfortable to take your first idea, I recommend quantity if you have leftover military power. I recommend influence or diplomatic if you have leftover diplomatic power. And I recommend religious if you have leftover administrative power. Have a good war. I'll catch you at this peace deal. I hope you're having as good a war as I am. This is the least of what you want. If you're winning decisively and it looks like you can push for more and that you won't get a much bigger coalition, go ahead and push for that. If not, go ahead and take this. This is perfect. The reason you want this is because it will conquer a good chunk of Egypt. Secure this little piece of Egypt for your future conquests from anyone else, and this pretty much lets you get ready to invade Syria to keep this away from the Ottomans. I pushed for just a little bit more and we'll settle for this, cutting off Tunisia's ability to expand into this little part of Africa, or whoever's here, but that looks like Tunisia. From here, you're really set up for success. Try to convert Alexandria as soon as you core it. Other than that, keep hitting the Mamluks every time your peace runs out using the Timurids, Karakunyulu. Right now I'm courting Ajam since I had to break my alliance with the Karakunyulus. And you kind of have free fights here. Just try not to pick on anybody with too big of an alliance. You should be able to annex Ogaden soon. Give them their cores back here and here. You will grow humongous if you keep beating up on the Mamluks. Your inflation will continue to rise even if you always have a yearly inflation reduction plus 10 advisor. So at some points, you're just going to have to reduce inflation manually and waste 75 admin power. The negative conversion modifier will go away eventually, and you will be able to convert the Jews of Semien, but it's the only way to get Shemot Mina. So I'm being anti-Semite and only convert every other religion except Copts and Jews. I will probably go ahead and skip here until the next peace deal with the Mamluks, and I'll show you guys what to take the next time you are able to peace off the Mamluks. Peace off. Here we are at the end of our second war against the Mamluks. Another 100% war. We got a bit unlucky because the Ottomans were able to take 2 big chunks of the Mamluks' land up here, but we were at least able to cut them off here. Most of the time, you'll be able to cut them off further up north, which is a lot better, especially if you can take Antioch up here. This will be fine, though. I'm going to go ahead and sue for peace here. I do want to stop the Ottomans from any further expansion, so this is going to be a must. You can take some of Arabia, but you have your claims in Egypt, so that would be nice, starting to take some provinces there. For your second idea group, diplomatic is very useful to start building up your alliances and relationships to eventually beat up the Turk. Here we'll start prepping for our next war, which can either be against the Mamluks, just to beat them up some and continue building ourselves up, or if we can convince our allies, it'll be against the Ottomans. Try to make sure you have more army here than they do, and that you have some allies coming in to help you. Right now, nobody is going to come in, so it's going to be a while. I did offer an alliance to one of the Ottomans' allies, and I will use my favors to make them break their alliance, lowering the Ottoman side while raising my own. I will go ahead and cut here until I'm ready to declare war on the Ottomans. Don't just sit here and wait, though. You can continue expanding south or into Arabia. You can go anywhere. Boom, boom, boom. We're back and we're ready for our first war against the Ottomans. Well, not really. You see, they've joined the coalition against us, making attacking them kind of difficult since they have a lot of allies. Now, we have a lot of allies ourselves and could possibly beat them, but it would be a tough war. In scenarios like this, I recommend you attack one of their allies. In this case, we have Yemen right here on the border that we could easily invade. As you can see, I've united a large group of nations that will help me beat up the Ottomans and their allies. In this first little war, I'm going to try and isolate the Ottomans from any of their allies, possibly take a few provinces here. I'll catch you at the end of this war during the peace deal. Here we are at the end of the war. It didn't go as well as I would have hoped, as my allies steadily abandoned me. We're going to go ahead and sign a deal for a white peace and try again in a few years, but it's okay. Don't give up. When you get your level 6 government reform and complete a number of other requirements, you will be able to complete your centralized estate mission. This will give you this event that lets you replace your Negus and Agast monarchy reform with this new Solomonic Empire government reform. You'll still be able to get your Kawa, but you're going to lose your minus 75% discount on moving your capital. This will also get rid of your decentralized state penalty. If you don't want the additional benefits from the Solomonic Empire, you can just lose the decentralized state penalty and be able to move the capital around very cheaply. I will take the Solomonic Empire, and I recommend you do too, as it bumps up your national unrest modifier to -2, gives you +2 tolerance of faith and +20 absolutism. Has been a few years and it has taken me quite a while to isolate the Ottomans like this. I have been declaring war on their smaller allies and removing their bigger alliances. Tripoli and Medina are my vassals, and I think this is finally going to be the war that we're going to be able to take a big chunk out of the Ottomans. As you can see, I have clustered a humongous alliance to break them. We're going to take a whole lot. No promises, but highly likely we'll finally get our good war right here. Actually, at the end of this war. Whew, we finally did it. We've had a successful war against the Ottomans. I'm going to go ahead and peace out here, because that's going to be almost 100 overextension, and my Western allies in Austria and Venice have surrendered. I have really no way of crossing, and as you saw, I control the entire Anatolian side. So this is a good peace deal for me here, and there we go. That's it. You pretty much just keep wailing on the Ottomans now. I will catch you on when we get our first achievement, which will probably be a blessed nation. And there you have it, my brothers and sisters in Copt. We have liberated the Holy Heart of Armenia. Now, a majority of the time we will retain the Coptic religion in this province, even if it's conquered by heathens. When you do unlock your 5 blessings, you will get a Blessed Nation achievement. Now, I'm not going to have it in here because I've already gotten before, but as you can see, it's Iron Man. And for a Blessed Nation achievement, it requires a Coptic nation to gain all 5 blessings. Great job getting that so far. Our next goal is going to be to form the Secret Formable. before we prove once and for all that Shemot me not. This is Ethiopia's secret formable Aksum, right? It's weird that Ethiopia would have a formable when it already has such a long history and it's an empire, but you can form Aksum. This is accomplished when you complete the Surpass the Past mission, which requires you to conquer a lot of provinces in Arabia. You can decide not to take it, and if you decide not to, you can always form it later. I will go ahead and take the decision to form Aksum and show you guys the ideas. This is Ethiopian, this is Aksum. So what we get from Aksumite is +1 yearly prestige, minus 15% aggressive expansion, minus 15% war scar cost versus other religions, +2 tolerance of the true faith, minus 5% tech cost and +10% institution spread, +15% trade efficiency, +0.1 yearly inflation reduction. Our tradition gives us 5% discipline and 15% governing capacity, which is amazing. Governing capacity is one of the best modifiers in my opinion, and it's one of the harder ones to come by. And our ambition will give us another 25% manpower. Look at that. That's beautiful. Keep conquering. Get it. Alright guys, I'm going to keep working here towards pushing into and conquering Constantinople. We'll see you when we get the Prester John achievement. We just got our last core in the state of Constantinople, and coupled with Alexandria from maybe 100 years ago and Antioch from maybe 50 years ago, we do get the Prester John achievement. Own and have cores on Alexandria, Antioch, and Constantinople as Coptic Ethiopia. Last but not least, Shemot me not. Let's check it out. So I had the name of the achievement wrong. It's Shemot is not. I've been calling it Shemot me not the whole episode. That's totally my bad. So Shemot is not. And what we need to do is become Jewish. That's why we saved these guys and convert all of Egypt to Judaism. So step 1 is going to be to make these guys rebel. We're going to send our missionaries that we have been holding back, and we're not going to pay them anything. That's going to make it so we don't convert. Do whatever you can to try and raise unrest. As you can see, it's rather good for us here. The easiest way is probably going to be to 100% occupy somebody and let your war exhaustion build up with the call for peace. This should help us get some unrest and edge on the Jewish boys to rebel. Let's tell everybody to suck it and proclaim that I am the state. If it isn't Gideon's heir with 10,000 soldiers to try and take over an empire, good luck to him. We're going to let him kind of just have his way around here and beat up a bunch of Christians and convert them to Judaism. No, stop, Morocco. What are you doing? Leave the rebels alone. Oh man. They're fucking dead, dude. So that last guy got murdered by my enemies, but no worries. Look, another one of Gideon's successors is here, and he's having a much better time. I've put my vassals on sleep mode so they don't come and interfere, and I've moved my soldiers far away. If they get close to any forts, I'm just gonna do this and mothball it. We are trying to have the Jewish rebels take over, which does require them to be the dominant religion in the country, at least 50%. Because they are heathens or in a different religion group than us. So what we're going to do is a little bit of shenanigans. We're going to go ahead and create a client state. At this point, you're committed to becoming Jewish and just getting the achievement. So we're, like I said, we're doing shenanigans. The first of which is creating a vassal here in the south. So the rebels will start moving north towards Egypt. I called it Oromo land, because it's like Somaliland, but it's led by the Oromo. For Shemot me not, for Shemot is not. We only need to convert Egypt. So when the rebels have conquered enough of your provinces where you will be able to surrender to them, go ahead and destroy your nation. Just like that, we've created a number of free kingdoms because I am such a benevolent ruler. We have Large Mania, ruled by an Armenian majority. We have Greek Ethiopia, Amara, Oromoland, and Shemotaj. We are also ready to surrender to the Jews, where we will become Jewish. Here we go. Now we're Jewish Aksum. Our job isn't done. We need to fill out the rest of Egypt and teach them the ways of the Jewish. We're just waiting on Cairo now to start following the Jewish faith. Make sure you have the Jewish community aspect, and we're about ready to get the achievement together. I have not gotten this one yet, so we should get the pop-up here. There it is. Haha, it's at the bottom right, and I missed it completely. Shemot is not. Can you believe I have never had 5 allies with 100 trust, and I have like 4,000 hours in this game? Probably because I always end up betraying people. Well, this was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment if you have any questions or need help along the way in any way. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good day of being Jewish. Judaism.